Are you still convinced that Sam Howell is the guy in 2024? Early voting, 20 minutes. 67% are still Howlers.
Right.
13% no, 20% on the fence. I would say I am on the fence, and here's why. He's the league leader in interceptions right now. I know the bulk of it is in 2 games, and he is a young quarterback. But also, I just looked at 3 different metrics. Pro Football Focus, they put out their grades. And for the season, just to give you some context, Jared Goff is number 1, Allen's number 2, Lamar 3, Dak, Tua. That's your top 5, right? They have Sam Howell 22nd. So he's got guys like Jordan Love, Derek Carr, Geno Smith above him. Below him, guys like Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Deshaun Watson. If you go to QBR, which is weird because they've got a couple of like interesting guys that you look at that are either higher or lower than you'd expect. But they're top 5, Purdy, Dak, Mahomes, Herbert, and Josh Allen. All right, those are really good quarterbacks. They've got him 21st at a 48.5. Just above him, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow. Below him, Jordan Love, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson. If you just go to traditional passer rating, he's at 88.6. Your top 5, Purdy, Tua, Russell Wilson, Dak, Lamar. He's in the league, again, with some of those same names. Geno, Derek Carr, Baker just above him. Below him, guys like Josh Dobbs, Deshaun Watson, Jordan Love. So he is young. He should get better. But if you look at the big picture, the large sample size, he's middle of the road at best. And if you want to be a championship team, is that good enough? Now, can he get better as the team gets better? Sure. That's why I'd say I'm on the fence. But I would say he's the guy in 2024 simply because of his salary. Like, if this was year 4 for Sam Howell, he would not be the guy because you wouldn't be willing to give him a big contract. You just have the benefit of where he is salary-wise right now.
But also, yes, he has 12 starts under his belt. So
I agree.
I'm willing to wait and see more, that hopefully he minimizes these catastrophic games. And you also just look at the quarterback landscape. Just listen to some of the names that were starting and or appearing in games over the weekend. Zach Wilson, he looked terrible. DTR, Will Levis. I mean, after his blow-up game with DeAndre Hopkins early, he's done nothing. Josh Dobbs, Jake Browning, Aiden O'Connell. Because of that alone gives me reason for, look, this guy's 12 games in. Hopefully he looks, better and builds on it as he's 18, 20, 25 games in. The quarterback landscape is barren. It's a wasteland. That's why you see more good from him than bad at this point. I'm willing to ride it out and realize he's a young quarterback. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight.
I just look at, to me, the eye test, and eye test has been pretty darn good most of the time. I think yesterday just pressed, got away from him, bad game, chalk it up. And unfortunately, he'll probably have another tough one this week on Thursday with Micah Parsons. I don't know that we'll be able to handle him. But I think you just have to look big picture, and maybe he's ranked 20th or 21st or 22nd in his first go-around. I think he can make all the throws. I think he's resilient. I think he tends to bounce back from bad plays, from bad games. I don't know. I like his moxie. I like sort of everything about him. So I'm willing to, just chalk it up as another bad game, and he's going to have probably a few more before the season's over. So you believe
he is the guy moving forward?
I don't know.
Do you believe he's the guy, or are you on the fence? I'll admit, I'm on the fence.
Here would be my plan.
I don't know if he's good enough.
Option by far
my plan with Sam Howell into 2024 would be retain him, but bring in a decent veteran as a backup, or maybe you keep Brissett, extend him for another year.
What if you're able to draft Drake May? They're at the 7th pick right now, or Caleb Williams. I don't know. Let's say this season continues. Like you don't see many more winnable games.
Yeah.
Let's say they have the 4th pick, and they're able to get one of the top 2 quarterbacks. I would take them because I'm not convinced on Sam Howell.
Maybe if you have a top 4 pick and you're guaranteed, maybe
there would be consideration. But it depends on what he does down the stretch.
Yeah, that's true.
If he plays
and the salary thing is a big factor.
It's tantalizing.
If he was in year 4, we would have different answers. But he is in his 2nd season, and that rookie contract is a huge benefit. You're paying him peanuts.
You're in his 2nd season, but really his 1st season playing.
Yes.
Right.
And so I just have seen so many bright spots and enough things to build around that I'm okay with just keep trotting him out there. Now, if he just starts stacking bad games after bad games, well, the equation changes. But he just come off 3 really strong games, and this one was a bad one. And I thought they were all fairly correctable too. Just got bad decisions.
The reason I would be skeptical a little bit about May and Caleb Williams, even though I'm a quarterback snob, I like guys who are picked high. What if Drake May is Zach Wilson? I mean, what if you pick him in the top
You're right.
5? What if he just stinks?
No, you're right. I mean, you think that and I don't like burying a guy too early because Bryce Young, you could bury him right now and maybe ultimately he'll be a good player. But you don't think that every Carolina Panthers fan is looking at what the Houston Texans are doing every week and C.J. Stroud, and I know he's coming off a 3-interception game.
I guarantee you they are. They're living a life of regret
I heard one of the analysts say if you're the first 2 quarterbacks taken, it's basically a 50% hit rate.
Right.
And so, it's a risky play, but I think that Sam Howell's advantage is the contract. He'd be going into year 3. Drab, you wanted to chime in. I thought you made a good point last week that you feel like the Howlers are slurping a little bit.
I just think they got ahead of themselves too quickly. You got Linnell last week saying he'd take him over Caleb Williams.
Yeah, that's a bridge too far.
Look, he's better than what I thought he was, and I'll give him credit to that. I hate saying I'm on the fence because you should have an opinion and stick to it, but I'm still on the fence. He's still got to earn it the rest of the year. If you're up there like number 5 overall and there's one of those top QBs there, I just don't like you gotta have a franchise quarterback. I'm just not seeing if I'm seeing it so far. Like you saying he played 3 good games in a row. I mean, I don't know. Was he that good in the Patriots game? He had an 84 QB rating. 2 games before that, he had a 60. I mean,
and they won really only one of them.
He's really inconsistent. He's thrown 12 interceptions. He's done some great things. He's made some good throws. The throw to this Brown last week against the Yucks was unbelievable. Blew my socks off. But I just don't know if I see a playoff winning quarterback in him yet.
Well, yeah, he's in the ballpark right now, and maybe it's not fair because these are veterans, but I brought up all those rankings to kind of see contextually where he is. And he's in that Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love range, and that's not good enough to be a really good team.
Well, everyone
it could be a starter in the league.
Yeah, but it
could be a starter in the league.
It's his first year. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens next year. Does he regress? Let's see what happens in these next 5 or 6 games.
I mean, in some of these rankings,
the
only guys that are below him on like PFF are the dregs. Okay. And I'm out on, look, I thought Kenny Pickett was a good guy. He's got 6 touchdowns in 11 games?
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
Tommy DeVito already has
those
more
are the guys below
touchdown
him.
games than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's shocking.
And some of that is just like the PFF stuff is just their viewpoint of it. But some of the
that's why I looked at QBR
everyone,
and rating. I looked at all of them, and he's in the same kind of ballpark in every one of these rankings. He's in the 20 to 22 range.
And that's where everyone talks about his yards. I know you're talking about his yards, right? He's leading
also his touchdowns.
Okay,
his touchdowns.
He has more pass attempts than anybody.
Okay, that's fine. But, I mean, so you could point to negative statistics. You can also point to good statistics.
Right, and I think he's somewhere in between. But everyone's talking about his yardage. He's 20th in the NFL in yards per attempt. They're just throwing the ball an unbelievable amount of times.
Yes.
So his yards per attempt is 6.9 yards. That's
because they got to get rid of the ball quickly. It's not because he's incapable of throwing. It's not because he's incapable of throwing the ball downfield. In fact, I think he throws the ball great downfield.
Yesterday he was atrocious throwing the ball down the field. He made atrocious decisions throwing the ball down the field.
Right. So you're going to judge it all on yesterday?
No,
judge
I'm
the
not.
whole package.
We are.
Can he make the throws? Of course he can make the throws.
You've said it a million times.
Everybody
Every quarterback,
can make the
Tommy
throws.
DeVito can make the throws. You saw him yesterday. Guys wide open down the field.
I think he's better than Tommy DeVito.
I'll give you that. He's probably better than Tommy DeVito.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's better than Drake May.
I don't know anything about Drake May. If you say he's great, then sure. I don't know.
Head to head yesterday, if you were just looking at Tommy DeVito yesterday and you were looking at Sam Howell yesterday,
I have no idea how it
Tommy DeVito played better than Sam Howell yesterday, just in that small sample size.
That's fine.
And you would say Tommy DeVito can make the throws. That's the point. Like making the throws, that's part of the equation.
Yeah, I think
I would much prefer a Sam Howell arm over a Taylor Heineke arm.
Yeah.
But decision making is part of it.
Listen, you guys could make all your decisions. You could be on the fence. You could be on the fence. And I
You're
guess
all in.
No, it's not that I'm all in. Listen, if he bombs the next 5 games, then we got to move on. It's kind of, but I like what I see. I don't think that will happen.
Valdez, you have been anti-Howell in wind games. What is your overall assessment?
In non-win games.
Well, I was very high on Howell to start the season, and this is how I would view it. Howell and Bieniemy are a package. That's how I view it. And if you want to move long term with Howell, you have to have Bieniemy in that conversation. if one, it's both of them. You can't have one without the other.
There's no
I feel
guarantee
like.
Bieniemy's going to be here after the season's
I
over.
know.
Yeah, I don't
But
think
that's-
Bieniemy's
That's a
necessarily
big
gonna be
question mark.
But that's how I view him. Is that I would rather have Bieniemy with Howell than have someone come in. Howell has to learn a new system, or he wants his own quarterback. So if I can keep Bieniemy and then I can keep Howell, I would move forward with those two.
I just think that overall in his first
They're a package to me.
Okay, to me they're not. I think overall in his first 12 games as a starter, he's done pretty darn well. I put it up against Trevor Lawrence's first 12 games, Bryce Young's first 12 games. I mean, you name
Well,
the
he's going to be
guys.
crushing Bryce Young's first 12 games.
I think he's doing fine. I mean, he's had some bad games, no doubt about it. Yesterday, bad game. But I think on the whole, he's been pretty
And I
good.
think
Here's my problem though with your
I'm okay
touchdown
with it.
thing. Like I agree, he has touchdown. He's got more touchdowns than I expected. He's got 19 touchdowns, or 18 touchdowns.
Got 18.
Okay. Russell Wilson has 19 on 297 pass attempts. It's basically 150 less passes than Sam Howell. So you do need, as Drab says, you do need to look at the whole picture and the context.
A lot of those are like dump off stuff that they have to do.
I know, but
because
my
their
point
line
is
so
you're going to laud him
inferior.
for the raw number of touchdowns when he's had so many more
Listen,
pass attempts.
I'm basing it on my eye test. To me, the eye test that I can win with this guy. In fact, I thought we were going to win yesterday. But,
Against
he
a
forced
terrible
it.
team.
Yeah, it would have stolen
that
it.
he's lost to twice. That team only has one other win on the season.
Well, it turns
I
out
know.
the Commanders are a terrible team,
We're
too.
terrible.
Which is
I mean,
what we're
yeah.
kind of overlooking.
And I know it's not
if
his
you wanna
fault.
Pin the loss
It's not his
all
fault.
on him, go
No, no.
ahead. But I
He's a
don't-
big part of the loss. I mean, you
Sure.
gave him a
But if you
F
want to
or
pin it all on
D.
him, go ahead. Fine. Who cares?
No. I just
it's
think
the eye test.
it
to
may
me.
not be good enough. Big picture. I do think he's proven he can start in the league.
Of course.
But so is Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Do you want Baker Mayfield to be your quarterback
Baker.
for the next 5 years? Probably not.
I'm not saying next five. That's not even a discussion. To me it is, does he deserve a shot to be the starter next year? And so far I'd say yes. Now, if he bombs these next 5 games and he just keeps racking up bad ones, then okay, then we'll probably
the
need
next
to move on.
GM's going to look at that and
Yeah.
say, he
My
might
guess
not be
is-
my guy.
My guess is he'll probably struggle a little bit this week. Micah Parsons is going to be in his grill. He's going to have to unload it so fast.
He's got to play him twice, by the way, before the end of the season.
Well, hopefully by the end of the year, it won't even matter. The last one. I don't know. I think I still think he'll have some good games down the stretch.
He's had good games. That's why I'd say I'm on the fence. The thing that I would lean towards him for 2024, it's the contract. If
Well, it's also
he was
his
in,
ability.
If he
There's
was
things to build on.
but if he was in year 4, I would 100% move on.
Yeah, but in year 4, he would probably progress.
Maybe.
I mean, if you think this is peak Sam Howell, this is as good as he can be, I think we've already seen improvements from week to week.
I don't know.
He's cut down on the sacks largely.
Has Baker improved?
I don't know. Not everybody improves. Some people don't. But I think we've seen improvement within the season this
Baker
year.
Mayfield's had a couple good seasons, but
I
kind
would
of
put
after
his
5
rookie year
seasons,
up
I feel
against
like he's
most.
Baker.
It's essentially his rookie year. I put his rookie year up against most. And I'm pretty proud of what he's done. So I'm firmly in Sam Howell's camp.
There's going to be a new coach, and there's going to be a new GM.
You're not convinced,
and
but
they're going to evaluate, and they may have a high draft pick.
I'm sure all
And
those
if you
things
have
will
a high
happen.
draft pick and Drake May or Caleb Williams is there, I'm sorry. I think you're going to take them. And then
they may
you know,
consider all of that, but these Commanders fans, they have such scar tissue from watching such bad quarterback play that when you actually get decent to above average quarterback play, which you've gotten from Sam Howell in a lot of the games this year, you want to hold on to it because you've seen the other side of it. You've lived through the other side of it for the better part of 30 years now.
You're exactly
So I
right.
can understand why they don't want to they don't want to part with it just because he's having a few bad games. 12 games into his career.
Right. Thank you, Cakes.
You got to let it play out
and
a
it
little
is
bit.
a bird in hand argument, too. You have Hal versus, I mean, we're seeing what's happened with Bryce Young. Bryce Young's had 3 pick sixes. They've won 1 game this
Right.
year. He was the number 1 pick in the draft.
Who they traded up to get. They had to move
Who
up from 9 to
supposedly,
get him.
there's more and more whispers that the entire organization wanted C.J. Stroud except the owner.
Right. And that's a huge problem when that happens.
All right,
But he owns a team.
Let's go to Mitch. Mitch, what's up, buddy? You're on with the Junks.
Hey, good morning. I'm still on the Hall bandwagon, but I'm going to take a contrarian view and thank Ron Rivera for drafting him in the 5th round. Brilliant move. Nobody ever thanks Ron for anything. I got another observation is that you can't evaluate Howell fairly, I think, without evaluating the substandard offensive line in front of him. You just can't talk about him without talking about the offensive line. And number 3, and I'll get off the phone, what kind of clowns call a timeout with 5 seconds before the 2-minute warning? And I'll hang up and listen.
Well, I mean, I think that's pretty common. Like
yeah. I think it actually, the timeouts towards the end of the game worked in their favor. They got the ball back with plenty of time to potentially win the game.
It's standard by the book. They handled it right. Let's go to Sarah in Ashburn. Sarah, what's up? You're on with the Junks.
Hi, I'm with Hal. But what I'm with is to get rid of Rivera and Del Rio. And I think what they ought to do is sit down those players. Let's start with the taxi squad. See what they've got. Get ready for the draft. The game is over with for them. I mean, I was at that game yesterday. Harris must have seen people emptying that stadium at the end of the third quarter. So, I mean, we've lived through Jack Kent Cook, good person, and we also lived with George Preston Marshall. Enough with the black uniform.
He's been around a long time.
Enough with the gimmicks. Keep Hal. Start from scratch. Get rid of all of it. And we do not want Belichick.
All right. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
She's a howler.
I guess a cadre like you would welcome Belichick, but I guess I'm wrong.
All right, let's go to Mark in Burke. Mark, what's up, man? You're on with the Junks.
Hey, Junks. Good morning. How are you guys?
Bring Lombardi back.
Good. What's up?
Good. Hey, man, I'm in Howell's camp, too. I think, like you guys have said, I think it was EB just said, we have been victims of bad quarterbacks, so pretty much anything decent looks good. But I did like the way that the guys reacted to him getting hit by the Giants yesterday at the goal line. Like, I didn't think that was a dirty play or anything. I think it was the refs too slow on the whistle. But I like the way the guys rallied. He seems to be a leader. He's a victim of an atrocious game plan yesterday, in my opinion. And I think we got something, and we need to look to build to protect him. That's all.
Yeah. All right, thank you, buddy. I think what you're finding, JP, is that people that are fans of the team, we like Hal. We like what we see. And maybe you guys are more objective, but people that aren't fans of the team, they're the ones that are like, I don't know.
Trying to poke holes in him.
Yeah, but people that are fans of the team, because of what Cake said, it's been so long since we've had competent quarterbacking. When we see glimpses of it, which we've seen many times this year, we want to hold on to it.
I think that's fair.
And I think that's what you're seeing.
I don't know if he's still number one. He's had all these big-time throws, which PFF tracks.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it big picture, and I understand it's in 2 games, he is the league leader in interceptions. He is the league leader in sacks. Part of that is on the offensive line, but part of that is on Sam Howell. And I went through the 3 different rankings, PFF, QBR, and passer rating, and he ends up kind of in that same area. Doesn't matter if it's PFF or QBR or passer rating. He ends up in that kind of 20 to 22 range. And I think your argument's valid. He should get better, but some guys don't.
He might get worse.
Some
Maybe
guys
he'll
don't
play
get better.
bad
Some guys, and it is year 2 for him. I know you say it's his rookie season because he really didn't play last year, but it is year 2. He's been in the NFL for 2 years.
Yeah, but it's basically his rookie campaign. Like
that can be part of the argument.
He started 1 game as a rookie, a throwaway game at the end.
Like Justin Fields, like if I was the Bears, it's a tough decision on Justin Fields moving forward because he hasn't really gotten better. He's kind of been the same Justin Fields. And he'll tantalize you with a couple of 4-touchdown games. Yesterday, he ran for over 100 yards. It's like sometimes people don't get better. That's what they are.
Well,
I don't know. It's unknown.
I think I've seen Hal get better within the season.
But then he got worse.
No, that's
why you got to look at the big picture.
But like Aaron Rodgers throws 3 picks in a game. I mean,
sure. Jared Goff did yesterday, and PFF has him as the number 1 quarterback.
It's not that. It's just like I saw he's handling pressure generally overall better the last month than he did the first 2 months. I don't know. I feel like he has the arm and the savviness to make all the plays, make all the throws. He's got the toughness. He's got the wheels to make plays with his legs. I mean, what's not to like? I pretty much like everything about the guy.
That's not to like.
He's had a few bad games.
What's not to like is he's the 20th ranked guy.
It is first
And
year.
I would want to. I would want somebody better.
Look at what guys did. Look what Peyton did his first year. Look what Troy Aikman did his
first year as a rookie. Look what he did his second year in the pros.
Okay,
and
after first 12 starts, just to compare apples to apples.
I wouldn't bet on Sam Howell giving you a second year like Peyton Manning did.
But you can
compare apples to apples.
You can say that with any quarterback. You could say that about like Aiden O'Connell.
What about him?
Well, just anybody.
If he shows you flashes, sure.
Any sucky quarterback. Not saying that Howell is. You could say, well, Peyton Manning sucked his first year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't have to show you flashes.
Aiden O'Connell had a beautiful deep ball to Devontae Adams yesterday.
If you don't think you've seen anything good, and he's just meh to you, that's fine.
That's not what I
can't change your opinion.
I said
it.
He's got it. There's a bunch of games left. I think he's still got to earn it.
Sure.
I'm not signing him up for another year yet.
Well, the beauty of it is you don't have to sign anything. He's under contract.
You know what I mean.
He's under contract. If they have a top 4 pick and you can get arguably the first or second best quarterback in the draft, knock yourself out. Draft him. Who cares? That's fine.
It all depends on the new regime, whatever they think. If they see something they like in Sam Howell, they'll keep him around and probably have a veteran to back him up. If they don't like him, they'll just say, you know what? We'll keep you as a backup, and we're going to bring in somebody that we feel is better.
If he plays the way I think he's going to play, he'll have some good games down the stretch. I don't think they're going to have a top 4 pick. Probably going to win a couple games here that we can't fathom.
I think you're going to have a top 10 pick.
Probably
might not be top 4.
We'll probably have a top 10.
It's looking like
but that's
top
not going
10.
to necessarily be good enough to get one of the best 2 quarterbacks in the league.
You need a top 5.
In fact, you're probably going to need a top 5 quarterback to get one of the top 4 quarterbacks.
I'll tell you who's not a big believer in him. One Jason Bishop, who texted me, DeVito outplayed the quote, unquote, guy.
Well, that's also survivor pool bitterness seeping through.
Everyone not invested in a team they don't care about how. Those of us that love the team and are invested in a team, we like what we've seen, and so we're more invested. That's
so
just
your burgundy
line.
and gold glasses are blinding you from impartiality.
I don't know. It's blinding me. I like what I see. I've seen a lot of good stuff. He had a bad game yesterday. That's okay.